name is Michael Berlucci, and I serve on our Virginia Beach City Council as a member from the Rose Hall District. And of course, in Virginia Beach, no matter where you live, you can vote for all council members. So I'm really proud to serve on our council. I was born and raised in Virginia Beach and spent most of my life here. I graduated from Virginia Beach Public Schools. We have such a great city, wonderful community, and I'm really grateful for the chance to serve our community on our council. Last year I was elected to complete an unexpired term, and so this year I'm a candidate for a full 4-year term, so I have the chance to continue the work we started and to serve Virginia Beach residents and families. It was a very eventful year in Virginia Beach, as we know, between the terrible tragedy that occurred on May 31st to my election. Went through a process, as I mentioned before, of being elected to complete an unexpired term, and then COVID, and then naturally the events that unfolded in response to George Floyd and other responses to the racial tensions and police community relations we've seen. So we've faced some very substantial challenges in Virginia Beach and in our country in the last year. So it's been an interesting time to be in public service, but it's also been a very rewarding time, because in these moments of tremendous challenge, we know that there are also great opportunities to recommit ourselves to community connections, to working together to support each other and to improve life for everyone in Virginia Beach, but also just for everyone in our region. Collaboration is key. We know that's true in communities, it's true in business, and it's true in almost everything we do. I'm a member of a public body of 11 members, and so no one of us can do anything individually. You have to work as a team in order to advance a good idea through City Council. But more even than that, it's really incumbent upon us, and it's our responsibility to work together as a council, with city staff, and most importantly, with the community and with all stakeholders and residents, and work with our neighbors to support each other through these challenging times with COVID and with how we relate to each other as residents and neighbors, and make life better for all of us. As I mentioned, we have an unbelievable community in Virginia Beach. It's a city unlike any other in the country. There are different lifestyles, no matter what you like. We have rural, agriculture, beachfront, bayfront, urban, suburban. There's something for everyone here in Virginia Beach. And we have many opportunities to advance and to improve life. And so what really inspired me is that I love Virginia Beach, and I want to be part of a team of people who work together to make life better for everyone, so that ultimately everyone in Virginia Beach has a chance to fulfill their full potential. That's what inspired my initial entry into public service. Even before public service, when I was involved as a volunteer and supporter of community or nonprofit organizations, that's what drove my inspiration to community service. And it's really about working together and making sure that everyone has a chance to succeed. And so that's really what inspired me. And I work for the Chrysler Museum of Art, and my focus and my role there is on expanding and diversifying museum audiences. It's about making that incredible institution accessible to more people. And I really consider my role on council as an extension of that work even more broadly. It's about making sure that everyone has a chance, that everyone is included, and that we're all treated with the dignity and respect that we all deserve. We have to take proactive steps to make sure that we're including everyone in city contracting and with equal opportunities. So there's a set of recommendations included in the disparity study, and we have, as a council, funded those recommendations, but they still have to be implemented. So we have quite a bit of work to do in order to create the framework by which these disparities can begin to be addressed finally. But more than that, the discussions that surrounded the murder of George Floyd and racial tension we're experiencing in our country have highlighted the need for improved police-community relations and for a society where equity is prioritized. Not just, of course, in law enforcement and the criminal justice system, certainly there, but even more broadly throughout our communities and in our economy and in business. And so everything we do, in my view, should be considerate of those priorities and helping to create an environment where equity is established and maintained. I think this summer we really had a chance to review and consider our criminal justice system and how police and public safety and communities and neighborhoods relate to each other. And we've experienced some great challenges, and we've had some conversations that are frankly really long overdue in terms of the imbalance that can exist within the criminal justice system. I'm happy to say that in Virginia Beach, we're not experiencing some of the major sources of tension that other communities like Minneapolis or Los Angeles are experiencing. Our police department in Virginia Beach is widely regarded as one of the highest performing in the country, and many of the policies that are being protested and objected to, and rightly so, throughout the country, frankly don't exist here. And so I think it's important to recognize the professionalism and the high standards that exist within our police department and our public safety agencies in Virginia Beach specifically. But I also don't think we can lose sight of the fact that we also have an opportunity, but even more than that, an obligation to address policies that will make our community safer and fairer. And as a member of City Council, that's always been a priority for me. Before I served on City Council, I worked with community and police in order to create dialogue and understanding that builds mutual respect and understanding. I think that's one important key. So we have to improve police and community engagement. Another challenge that we must rise to meet is to fill the unfilled positions that exist currently within our police department. We're approximately 80 officers short. And what that does is it creates really vacancies within the law enforcement framework within our community. And that can provide stress on the officers who are working now. But what it also does is it allows us to really be more proactive about recruiting officers who more fully reflect the community we serve. And I think that's one of the key points to this discussion that's often really overlooked, is that there's an opportunity for more people to join the public safety workforce as professionals and as a career path. And you know, our public safety professionals are really heroes. They sacrifice their own safety and their lives and their well-being in order to keep us safe and protect us. It's a noble profession, and it's one that I think we really need to respect and appreciate, but that doesn't mean we have to turn our backs to some of the things we can improve upon. And I think one of the things we can improve upon is making sure that those workforces reflect the community we serve. Another policy priority that I think we have a chance now to address is that there are panels such as in Virginia Beach, our independent review panel, which is a group of citizens responsible for some oversight and review of police policies and events that occur. And I think we have some opportunity now to strengthen those panels, to make them more reflective of our community, and to make sure there's transparency and accountability in those processes, so that everyone knows that their rights are protected, and that includes citizens and law enforcement, and that we can build trust, because I think that's one of the key pieces that's missing around the country and in our community too, is trust between citizens and residents and public safety professionals. And the more we understand each other and can trust each other, the better and safer we'll be. And I think one key piece of that is that we're more likely to trust people we know and trust our neighbors and know that our neighbors have our back. So the more we can fill those positions with residents and people we know and who reflect our community, I think will be really strengthened. We have an opportunity to set the course for what Virginia Beach looks like in the future, and we have that chance right now. Mental health has been an ongoing priority for me, and one that I know is a priority and really a very important issue for Virginia Beach residents and really people everywhere. We're experiencing a mental health crisis in America, and we're experiencing the impacts right here in Virginia Beach. People who suffer from mental illness often don't receive the treatment they need, or they're afraid to seek treatment because of the stigma associated with mental illness. So I think we need to do a few things. First and foremost, we have to work together to end the stigma and reduce the anxiety that exists around receiving treatment for mental health concerns and mental illness. Ones that are regarded as serious mental illness and other less serious forms of mental illness. Because we should be thinking of it more as the illness that it really is. We have no stigma associated with receiving treatment for an injured knee or any other medical concern, but for some reason, because mental illness involves our brain and our psyche, then there's some concern that it could impact our family lives, careers, and other things, and that's really detrimental to our health. The other thing is that people who experience mental illness, particularly serious mental illness, are much more likely to have an encounter with the criminal justice system. And gone untreated, that can really enter an extremely destructive cycle where a person can have an encounter with law enforcement, can be arrested, incarcerated. That makes it more difficult to get and keep a job. It's a disruption in family life. It can relate to housing insecurity. The list goes on, and it begins to build and snowball. And in fact, our jail in Virginia Beach is the largest mental health hospital in the Commonwealth of Virginia as a result of the volume of people experiencing mental illness who are incarcerated. And we've got to do better than that. We've really got to treat each other better and find ways to get people the help they need and ensure that they don't have an encounter with the criminal justice system that ends up not only ruining their lives, but really significantly damaging the lives of their families, loved ones, and people around them. It's our responsibility to do better, and we can. One of the things we can do is advocate for enhanced funding from our General Assembly for mental health services. The other thing we can do is help our loved ones when they're in need and let them know that we're understanding of what they're experiencing, even if we don't understand it, and that we support their efforts to get the help they need, and really going back to the point about treating each other with dignity and respect. And what this focus on mental health reform will do is it'll make our communities safer, and it will make our communities and our lives healthier and more fulfilled. And so that's why it's long been a priority of mine to advocate for mental health reform, and I really invite you to join me in that work, because it's one of the most exposed public policy discussions that has some of the largest impacts on our lives. I am so honored and grateful to serve on our Virginia Beach City Council. As I mentioned before, it's a great city. We have great schools, great jobs. We can do better, and we can do better if we work together to make sure that everyone has a chance to succeed. And I'm excited about the opportunity to continue to serve, and I hope Virginia Beach voters will give me that chance. This is our time right now to build what our future looks like.